Hello and welcome back to the Andy's Bet Club podcast. My name is Jack Durkin and this is a podcast where we look at some of the biggest games in Europe and bring you a four-leg bet builder for those games. In today's episode, we are looking at the best team in the world, the almighty Leeds United, a long overdue debut for Super Leeds United. They're taking on Manchester City this Saturday night at Ellen Road in the 5:30 kickoff. As always in this podcast, I'm joined by two of Andy's Bet Club experts. Today, we've got Robin and Marcus. Fellas, thank you for joining me. Marcus, we're going to come to you first, mate. We were one foul off both of our bet builders last week, which is incredibly unlucky. But a fantastic game this Saturday night to look forward to, and fingers crossed we can have that little bit of luck we need.
Yeah, definitely on the right lines. Last week, some really fun bets to cheer on, just falling on the wrong side of some really fine margins. And although it's a difficult one to take emotionally sometimes, hopefully it's just a good sign that in the long run, if we put ourselves in the positions to keep getting at least 3 out of 4 legs of the bet builder correct, we're gonna end up bringing in some winners.
Yeah, I love the positivity, Marcus. I love it. And Robin, welcome back, my man. Good to see you. 5:30 p.m. game at Ellen Road under the lights. I personally know how good those are as a Leeds fan and how difficult it is for teams coming to Ellen Road. Are you excited for the fixture this Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a cracker. I'm sure we'll speak about it in the future, but obviously the previous match between these clubs was so good. City winning 3-2 with a very, very late goal after Leeds had staged that incredible comeback, and it really looked like they were going to take a point from the Etihad. So they were really unlucky on that occasion. And although I fancy City to get the win in this one, it's not a game that they can take for granted. And I really think this will be an absolute thriller.
That fixture at the Etihad was when the Daniel Farke master plan sort of changed. That was the game where we went to a 3-back and the run since then has obviously been fantastic. First up, Marcus, we're going to come to you, my man. What is the first selection for this fixture?
So our first selection is Antoine Semenyo to have 1+ shots on target at 1.44. Not a new one, it's a bit of a podcast favourite, but one that has served us well in recent weeks. For me, the value's still there, so I'm happy to stay on it while we can, to be honest. Semenyo's had a shot on target in 22 of his 26 Premier League appearances this season. That's a hit rate of 85% and includes all of his last 5 games. His accuracy is really good as well. He's actually landed 55% of his shots this season on target. And if he can continue that rate, then we should definitely be getting this selection up. Just to quote the bookies on that, he's actually only as short as 1.17 to have 2 or more shots. Yet he's having he's got over 50% of those shots on target, and we're getting 1.44 on a shot on target. So I think there's definitely some value to be had there. Even the 2+ line would have landed last week against Newcastle. That was helped by Phil Foden having a shot on target via the super sub feature. That's definitely a bet I'm looking at as a single. It's as big as 4.2 in places on its own. I think one thing that maybe the bookies aren't taking into account with Semenyo is just how two-footed he is. It's really rare. He's actually down as being a right-footed player, but he's had more shots on his left foot than his right so far this season. 28 on his right and 32 on his left. That's just so rare. Good luck defending against that. And yeah, as I said, I think the style of the player and his two-footedness is maybe something that's not being factored into pricing up these markets, which is why we're getting that little bit of extra juice on the price.
You mentioned that we back this selection a lot. I think the saying is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why the bookies not sort of bringing down the price on this? Because like you say, it always tends to land, and it's been a podcast favourite.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, without knowing exactly what they base the prices on, I do feel like a large sort of factor in that will just be his hit rate and how many times it's coming in recently. So that two-footedness, the fact that when he does get 1v1, he doesn't really care whether he's got to be on the outside or the inside to generate that shooting opportunity. I don't feel like that maybe that level of depth is being put into the market. And then, yeah, that's why we're getting a 1.44 where you've got players like Haaland and Marmoush that are a lot shorter in this market. I actually checked and Metcha of Leeds is the same price, or roughly the same price to have a shot on target as Semenyo, which, yeah, I just don't think it's right.
Yeah, especially when he probably won't be starting. It'll be likely Calvert-Lewin. Although I do like Metcha. Shout out to Metcha. Free transfer as well as Calvert-Lewin. He's done a very good job for us. Okay, Robin, coming to you, mate. What is the second leg for the bet builder?
So the second selection is Nico O'Reilly to have 2+ shots at 1.91. So over the course of the season so far, he has had 1.14 shots per 90. So not an obvious selection here, I don't think. But I think the crucial thing here is that he has changed position in recent weeks. He's no longer playing quite so deep or playing as a left back. And actually, even playing as a left back, he had 2 shots against Leeds when these sides previously met, both of which were on target. So in recent weeks, he's been playing as an attacking central midfielder. And from there, he's really grown into the game over the last couple of games. We have seen him score 3 of City's last 4 goals. And across his last 2 matches, he's actually had 7 shots. And another interesting thing about this bet for me is that Leeds are giving up so many shots against good teams from the central areas of the park. So against Arsenal, Martin Zubimendi had 3 shots. Against Chelsea, Cole Palmer had 5 shots. Newcastle, Joe Linton had 4 shots. And even against Manchester United, Manuel Ugarte had 3 shots and Casemiro had 2. So, they're giving away shots to high-ranking Premier League teams from this area. And O'Reilly, as I mentioned, has been in form in recent weeks, and his confidence is surely huge and really, really high. And he's had a shot on target. And for me, another good single bet here could be a shot on target, which is available at 2.2. He's had at least 1 in each of his last 3 outings. So for me, there's a lot going on this bet, and I really like the price on it.
If I could just interject on there on O'Reilly, Robin rightly mentions how the change in position is really helping us with this bet. Just something as well, if you throw the tactics board out the window, O'Reilly's an aerial threat as well. So from set pieces, he's going to be in there, he's going to be a target. And something I really love about the shots market is the likelihood is you just need your player to make first contact on that header. If it's inside the box, it can be blocked at point blank range. It doesn't even necessarily need to reach the goal unless they're obviously trying to make a pass with the header. That's a tick in the shots market.
Just touching on Nico O'Reilly, fellas, do you think he should be starting for England in the World Cup, either as that left back in the midfield, or maybe the reason he should be starting is because he can do a little bit of both?
I mean, I think it's inevitable that he goes to the World Cup because you mentioned his versatility. So I think it's certain he'll be on the plane. I can't see him starting as a attacking central midfielder just because of the sheer volume of talent England have got there. For me, if he's going to start, it's probably going to be as a left back. But equally, he's a very effective player there and could kind of fill a sort of problem position for England.
Perfect. Okay, Marcus, what is the third selection, my man?
Third selection is Bernardo Silva to be fouled 1+ times at 1.44. Manchester City ranked 4th in the league for fouls won per game, and Silva is, in terms of value, one of the players that stands out looking for an attacking player to draw a foul in this match. Now, Leeds are one of the more passive teams in the Premier League. They're not huge on pressing. I can expect them to sort of cede territory to Manchester City in this match, have them for them to have the lion's share of possession. But I do expect Leeds to be snapping into their tackles when City do eventually get into that defensive third. If Silva does operate in central areas, he could be up against Ethan Ampadu and Ilya Gruev. They foul 2.2 times per 90 combined. And also just the variety of Bernardo's plays. He's very comfortable drifting into loads of different pockets across the pitch, so he could draw duels with loads of different Leeds players on the day. And yeah, that was the kind of player I was looking for. Someone like Bernardo who's so comfortable receiving the ball in tight spaces, because I do feel Leeds are going to be quite compact and potentially look to hurt City on the counter. There's also a Sky Bet super sub insurance angle to this one. He's been subbed off 4 times in the calendar year. 3 of those times were for Tijani Reinders. He's fouled at 0.09 times per 90, and the other time he came off was to Phil Foden, who wins 1.31 fouls per 90. So there's a little bit of insurance there as well if this one doesn't fly in as I hope it does.
He's got a lot of bite to him in recent years, Bernardo Silva, hasn't he? He's such a competitor. He loves getting involved. We saw it where he, I can't remember who they played last week, but he just charged into the player where he potentially should have got a second yellow. Do you think that the way his game has evolved in the last few years is sort of helping us with the markets and what we can see for this selection?
I think one thing to take note of really is that Silva's fouled one numbers have been down as a trend in the last year or so. I do feel like that was impacted by Rodri's absence from the team. He was sort of coming deeper and deeper to get the ball and getting the ball in areas that aren't really too dangerous for the opposition, so they weren't engaging with him as much. With the flow of the game that I expect from this one and the amount of the ball I expect City to have in dangerous areas, as I said, I was really looking for a player that's going to be brave enough to try and find short pockets of space in Leeds' own third to pick up the ball. It's so hard to get him off him. So that's sort of the ideal area that I can see him picking up a foul in this game.
Like I say, at Ellen Road, a 5:30 kickoff, the crowd are going to be up for it. It's going to be a very competitive, a very combative game. So I'm sure that Bernardo Silva is going to be amongst it, absolutely. And then the final selection, Robin, what are we going for this bet builder, mate?
So, unfortunately for you, Jack, I'm going for Manchester City over 1.5 goals, which is available at 1.53. The main reason for this is City have scored prolifically in recent weeks. They've netted 2+ goals in each of their last 8 games. And although their away record in the Premier League hasn't exactly been sparkling, they've managed to do this 7 of their last 10 away matches in all competitions, which includes matches at Liverpool and Real Madrid. So they're able to do it against very good teams. Leeds, meanwhile, haven't been particularly strong defensively. They've conceded 9 of their last 10 matches and have only kept 2 clean sheets in their last 26. So this is a team that's prone to conceding goals, and that's especially so against opponents who are of a Champions League level. They've conceded 10 goals in their last 3 against Premier League opponents who are playing in the Champions League this season, and most recently, of course, they lost 4-0 to Arsenal in what was really quite a one-sided match. We've already spoken about the head-to-head record, City winning that last game between the clubs 3-2. They've also scored 2+ goals in each of their last 5 heads-to-heads against Leeds, so I can see that trend continuing here. It doesn't necessarily mean City are going to win. We obviously saw Leeds draw 2-2 with Chelsea recently, so they are a team that are certainly capable going forward, but I just fancy City to score at least a couple of goals in this game.
You apologised at the start there, Robin, but you don't need to apologise because we'll just score 3. So that's absolutely fine. Is there a reason that we've gone for City goals as opposed to the City win? Obviously, Robin, you did say at the start of this podcast that you think City might win, but is there a reason we're more confident in the goals than the result itself?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the Leeds defensive record, which is certainly part of it. We saw Leeds be able to raise their game against City last time out. I mean, the City haven't been quite as dominant as we normally expect them to be. Admittedly, they've been on really good form lately, and they do tend to click into gear at this point of the season. But I think Leeds can pose problems for them going forward, and as I mentioned, it's not quite been the vintage City team that we're used to seeing.
Okay, so to recap for our 4-leg bet builder in this game, it looks like this. First up, we've got Anton Semenyo, 1+ shot on target at 1.44. Then we've got Nico O'Reilly, 2+ shots at 1.91. Bernardo Silva, 1+ fouls, 1 at 1.44. And Manchester City over 1.5 goals at 1.53. That's combined odds of 5.01. As always, in the podcast, you watching and listening can back the same bet that we are backing by clicking the description in the show or heading to the show notes as well. We'll be backing it this time around on Sky Bet. Make sure you are 18+, and please, as always, gamble responsibly. Once again, I mention it every single week, you don't have to back the exact same bet builder that we're doing. If you're a Leeds fan and you think Leeds are going to win 7-0, then head over to andysbetclub.co.uk where you can find all the bet builder stats and you can create your own bet builder for this game. A very heavily dominated Manchester City bet builder, fellas, but that's fine because I am feeling quite confident and optimistic for this game. We spoke about it off camera. I think we could potentially get a draw at least 5:30 p.m. under the lights at Ellen Road. We've seen the record, and hopefully that record can carry on. Tomorrow we're going to be back with another episode. Arsenal take on Chelsea, another massive game in the Premier League title race, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that and any of the future podcasts coming your way. Well, fellas, thank you very much for joining me. Fingers crossed Leeds United get a result, and we will see you all very, very soon.